When my wife was growing up, she had the greatest pastor. His name was Peter Lord. And when Pastor Lord was in his later years, he said to me one time, "Darwin, when I was younger, they told me to prepare for eternity, but no one said anything about old age." Well, this video is about preparing for old age. Back in March 2015, I ran the Gate River Run. And back then, we volunteered for the Chocolate Milk, the Florida Dairy Association. And we asked the question, got chocolate milk? Today, I want to ask a little more painful question. And that question is, got plantar fasciitis? This video is to help you in case you have plantar fasciitis. You may ask, what is plantar fasciitis? It's a painful inflammation of the plantar fascia, a thick band of tissue that runs along the bottom of your foot, connecting the heel bone to the toes, essentially making walking difficult, and that is an understatement. I do want to add that it talks about that in the plantar fascia becomes inflamed and irritated, often due to overuse strain or tight calf muscles. Remember that, because we're going to talk a little bit more about how this is related to calf muscles. Now, I got plantar fasciitis while playing softball, okay? Now, I would label this video plantar fasciitis in sports because basically I got it from running, kind of bouncing, jumping for balls as much as a 50-something-year-old guy can jump. I got plantar fasciitis in February of 2023, and I had to figure out how to manage the pain. The first thing I tried was Pinnacle. I had this from a chiropractor, and I had used it on my knees, and I started using it on the part of my arch that felt like a needle was sticking into it. That was Pinnacle. In February of 2023, we still had another month of softball left, so I had to go to something that was a little stronger, and BioFreeze Professional is what I found killed the pain. This is my bat bag, and I always kept BioFreeze, flex tape, and a pair of scissors in my bat bag, ready to use before each and every game. I cut me some tape, and then I applied the BioFreeze all along here, the arch, and this is the most painful part of when you have plantar fasciitis. It's right in here. Even though it runs from here and connects the heel, your calves is key to stretching the plantar. I would pull this tape as tight as I could and pull up the arch, because at that point I had not invested in any inserts. In 2023, these were the pair of shoes I was wearing, and really the shoes were not the problem. These are a great pair of Boombas. I actually have 3 pairs that are identical. One's yellow, one's orange, and one's green, but they're all the exact same model. They're identical in model and style and size. However, the problem was what was inside of the Boomba, which was the Boomba insert, which you can roll up like this, and this is about what you get. And that, if you're over 50 years old, you better get this out of your shoe ASAP. Next, I did research on which inserts were the best in playing sports. My sport was softball, wasn't running anymore, and so this is what I came up with, these 2 particular companies and inserts. First, the blue ones right here are called Power Step Pinnacles, okay? As you remember, this is what I had before. This is what I was researching and getting into. The information that I got about this was that it support the arch. It has a little hump down here, much like a pair of Birkenstocks, and then the heel is all hard, so like a little shell. So this is a nice insert. Then the next are the Game Day Ready Pros. These are great. The only difference about this is this has a little cushion right here in the middle. But it still has the hard stuff. It will flap a little bit more than the Power Step Pinnacle, but these do support your arch, which is key because it needs help. And so these things help support your arch. So these are the two that I was trying out. I was trying out in the same pair of shoes. I put the Power Step Pinnacles in one pair of shoes and put the Game Day Ready Pros in the other set. Same size, same model shoes, just different colors. Off the softball field, I went from Crocs to Birkenstocks. Now I realize that Birkenstocks are over $100 and a lot of people don't want to spend that much on shoes. Crocs are around about $40 depending on what you get. Don't get me wrong, I've walked 12 to 18 miles a day going to see this guy over at the Disney parks. And I tried Brooks running shoes. I've tried Five Fingers. I've tried Crocs, and the winner was the Crocs. But once I had plantar fasciitis, that changed. In December of 2023, my wife wanted for our anniversary Disney annual passes. I can tell you this, I went to Disney so much from 2023 in December to December 2024 that our ticket, each time we went so many times, the cost of each visit was less than $10. So we were going once a week for the whole year and walking at least, we don't walk as much now that we're empty nesters, but we were tracking ourselves as walking up over 10 miles each time. And I was walking in Birkenstocks at Disney. Now these are looking kind of rough and I resold these and I use them for mowing and just working in the garage and stuff like that. I actually have a newer pair now. Actually, I have two. I have a pair of suede ones and I have this pair, and this is what they look like now. This is my sole job that I put on them. But anyway, it gives me a pair that I can just knock around in, and these have been really good. The next thing I want to add is what's under this t-shirt, and the unveiling is an incline board. This is a board that I have actually made myself. You can buy these on Amazon. They make them where you can actually adjust them for different angles. But this is what I researched and this is what I wanted. I keep this by my bedside table. And when I get up in the morning, the first thing I do is I stretch that calf muscle as best I can. This is where it lives the majority of the time, right by my bedside table. However, it's light enough you can pick up easy, like with a couple of fingers. It's not a real heavy board, and some of my friends keep them in their truck, their SUV, their car, and they'll stretch before the game. So basically, you're trying to stretch that calf muscle. So when you get out of bed, you put your foot on it, and you're kind of leaning forward and leaning over and stretching that calf as best you can. You put both feet on here, and then you kind of do the squat. You can go on YouTube and see about stretches with an incline board for plantar fasciitis and get all kind of good stretches. So I get the plantar fasciitis in February of 2023. I'm dealing with the pain with Pinnacle. That was not enough to get me through the season. So I get the BioFreeze, I put it on my arch. I get me some tape. I keep a pair scissors and some tape in my bat bag, and I'm supporting my arch. I make it through that month, and then I actually have a month off, and I take a whole month off. I got inserts for if I'm walking around in a pair of shoes or something like that. It starts to feeling better finally. And so long BioFreeze, no more BioFreeze. In fact, I haven't used BioFreeze on my foot since March of 2023. I did the research, I used these two, and then by December of 2023, it was time to order another pair because I didn't want to keep on taking these out and putting them in this pair of shoes, then switching this pair of shoes. And I had bought 2 pairs of Under Armour for my teams that I played on. So by December of 2023, I had made my decision, and my decision was, for me personally, I went with another set of Power Step Pinnacles. These run around about $60 to $70, but they are awesome, and they feel like you have a pair of Birkenstocks on while you're playing softball or whatever you're doing. So this was the setup I had, was 2 pair of Under Armour, same size, 2 different colors, Power Step Pinnacles in both of them. Don't get me wrong, now the Game Day Ready Pros are a great insert. I still use them sometimes if we're doing batting practice and the grass was wet and I wanted to switch shoes before the game. I'd just wear these out. They would get soaking wet, the insert would get wet, but I had the support, and then I would come in, put on my game shoes, and have my Power Step Pinnacles in there. I just find that the Power Step Pinnacles feel more like what I feel like when I'm wearing these Birkenstocks. So if you like Birkenstocks, I think you'll like the Power Step Pinnacles as, an insert into a running shoe or softball, pickleball shoe, whatever. Now understand, all these companies have these inserts that are designed for runners, for different sports, but these are just the basic blue ones. I've never tried the running ones. I'm not running anymore. I ran a couple of marathons back in 2014. But that was the end of my running days once I tore my medial meniscus playing ultimate frisbee. These shoes I probably paid about $65 for, and then I saw the blue ones on Amazon for $30, so I got another pair of them. So it's kind of funny that a $30 shoe and I have a $60 insert in it. But if you're going to seriously take care of your arch, you're going to spend some money on a good insert, or you're going to go to an orthopedic doctor and he's going to make one, and you're going to spend hundreds or up to near $1,000 for some of that stuff. And I have friends that have done that. So in review, first of all, manage your pain with something like BioFreeze Professional. Get some tape, support that arch, that will help. But the best thing, get off that foot and rest it, and then get yourself some good inserts. You got to get rid of this, and you got to get this, or something similar to this. You got to get something that's going to be hard right here to support that arch. You don't have to buy a pair of Birkenstocks, but I would buy a pair of these and put them in every shoe that you're doing any amount of walking in. So in conclusion, manage the pain, get you a good insert, figure out what works for you, and stretch that calf muscle with an incline board. Shout out to the Florida dairy farmers.
Do